Hello, fellow Rebel Capitals. Hope you're well. Got some news straight from Zero Hedge regarding none other than Larry Fink and everybody's favorite financial institution, BlackRock. And it's about the ESG narrative that Klaus is trying to push on all of us. Remember, it is my opinion, and it's just an opinion for what it's worth, that the global elites are really part of this cult. And I don't mean that in like a sinister way. I just mean that this is kind of their religion they've adopted, that where their objectives are to reduce energy use, reduce population growth. And they say that explicitly. But then they package this up in the Trojan horse of climate change. And I've always said that these global elite, the Fink types, the Klaus types, they don't care about climate change. They don't care about the temperatures in the ocean or the polar bears or any of that. They just care about either lowering the population or lowering energy use, or in Larry Fink's case, it would be that he just wants to increase his fees for what he can charge for these crazy ESG funds that he has with BlackRock. So you sit there and you scratch your head and you're like, why on earth is Larry Fink pushing all of these ESG type of narratives coming down from the Klaus types and the Bill Gates types and the Greta Thunbergs? Because he can make more money. He charges more. The management fees are higher. And then he is able to control through, what was the ratings agency, Josh? I think it's MCG. Is it MSCI? Is it?
Yeah, that actually sounds right. Where they
Is that
rate
it?
where they rate companies based upon their green policies and
Correct.
how
And they
great they
actually
are.
give them, it's totally objective
And then like
or
Ford
subjective, I
was
should say.
rated higher above Tesla, and it was something crazy like that.
Right. So it's totally subjective. This MSCI or something like, or MCSI, they come up with, and of course, they're good buddies with Klaus and they're good buddies with Larry Fink. So they can sit there and say, oh, well, you get a better score and therefore you're more investable. And it just so happens to be a fund or a company that's in Larry Fink's fund, let's say, where this brings in a lot of assets under management and he can charge higher fees. It's all just a boondoggle money grab. In his case, I think the motives of Klaus and Ursula and Bill Gates and whatnot, I think their motives are substantially different. But let's get into the dirty little secrets that Larry Fink and BlackRock don't want you to know about. Right over here to Zero Hedge. There he is, the man himself. Oh, of course, at Davos, World Economic Forum. And the title, Missouri, latest state to divest from BlackRock over woke political agenda. And reading throughout the article, you can see that Louisiana has done this as well. And basically what they're stating is that, Larry Fink is coming out and talking about all of these things that just really aren't in line with the priorities of the Missouri Pension Fund, which makes sense because their priority is making money, is achieving that 7% return they need to meet the obligations of the people they have made promises to. So if you had your money with a money manager that just has completely gone off the rails, and whether for whatever reason, because he wants more fees, or maybe he just is part of the climate change cult, or for whatever reason, but his attention is being diverted, and he's not focusing and prioritizing on what he should be as a fiduciary, and that is creating the best possible risk reward return for his clients. And so Missouri and Louisiana pretty much calling him out on this, and good for them. Good for them. And this is, this video, I think, is really about being optimistic, because it is at times easy to be kind of defeatist about this. Like, oh my gosh, what can I do about the global elite and the IMF and the UN and the EU and the World Economic Forum and Trudeau and all that, it's overwhelming. The central planners and authoritarians have this game plan, the agenda, the Great Reset agenda, and they are going to implement it regardless of what I do. And that's not true. That is absolutely not true. This is what they want, but it doesn't mean this is what they're going to get. And at the end of the day, there's a lot more of us than there is of them. And I can guarantee you that, this was Missouri removed $500 million. That's, even for BlackRock, that's significant. And I think if I was reading down here, yeah, we've got Louisiana removed $794 million. So we're talking $1.2, $1.3 billion. And I know they have, let's say, $1 trillion under management or whatever, but still, this really starts to move the needle. Oh, they're not all. But right here, let me keep reading. Utah took out 100 and Arkansas took out 125. So you could have more and more of these pension funds saying, listen, we can buy the woke agenda. That's fine. You want, or you say you want clean air and you want equality and you want, racial diversity and whatever the buzzwords are. But if you're not going to prioritize a return on investment or risk reward, then we're out. We're gone. And like I said, if this starts to become even more and more significant to the overall health or financial health of BlackRock, therefore Larry Fink's bonuses, he's going to do a 180. He's going to do a pivot. So I guess that's the question, Josh. Who's going to pivot first, Jerome Powell or Larry Fink? I guess it's mostly Republican states that are saying enough, according to this Zero Hedge article. But in his 2022 letter, CEO Fink stated that capitalism has the power to shape society and act as a powerful catalyst to change. Isn't this ironic? He's saying that capitalism has the power to shape. What he really means is corporatism. Because how would capitalism, how would free market capitalism, a decentralized approach, have the power to shape society? When he uses those words, he's talking about the central planners being able to shape society. And central planning is the complete opposite of free market capitalism. So, and if you say, George, I think you're being a little harsh on the guy. Okay, let's read this next sentence. When we harness the power of both the public and the private sectors, we can achieve truly incredible things. So, and he says we can get down to net zero. Okay, so how does free market capitalism involve the public sector or an increased role of the public sector? No. If we want true free market capitalism, we want the opposite of that. We want the role of the public sector reduced. So what is this partnership between the public and private sectors? Again, just repeating this script that Klaus pretty much hands out to everyone that goes to Davos. You know what it's like, Josh? You've been to a lot of these investment conferences with me. And the last one I went to, New Orleans Investment Conference, as a speaker, when you sign in or when you go into your hotel room, they've got like a gift bag for you that has like your itinerary and where they'd like you to be at certain times, and then it might have like a logo like New Orleans Investment Conference like hat and stuff. I guarantee you that when these people get to Davos, it's the same thing. They've got like a gift bag straight from Klaus himself, and that gift bag must contain the next year's script. Like, here it is, guys. We'd like you to use these words. And we want this year, we're really going to try to push the public-private partnership. And this year, we're really going to try to push the Great Reset agenda. And this year, we're going to try to push Build Back Better. All these buzzwords. that whenever you listen to the global elite, they all seem to be on the exact same page. I told a guy that was interviewing me the other day that it reminds me of just before I retired, I had a call center with about 40 people, about a 40-seat call center. And whenever we get an inbound call from an advertisement, a script would pop up on their little computer and they'd basically read the script. And I did this for quality control. And I think Clubhouse does the exact same thing with their goodie bag when they arrive in Davos. What do you think of that hypothesis,
It
Josh? You
actually
think that's
sounds
got some merit?
extremely potentially realistic. Like, it much more with, like, your call center. If I just had a script I had to read on my screen and I was dialing up as many numbers as I could, it would be very easy for
Yeah.
everyone to say the exact same thing, and it
Yeah,
is the
so it's
only
just
way.
every time Trudeau gets in front of the media, all he just like my telemarketers, all he has to do is look at his script from Klaus and Bigglesworth and just boom. Same thing with Larry Fink, same thing with Ursula, same thing with Rebecca Greenspan at the UN. Gee, Josh, I'm gonna be on CNN here in a half hour. What should I do? Oh, well, just look at your script. Oh, that's right. Thank goodness I've got. In fact, it's like cheating in third grade. They probably got like the script, like Klaus's script, like written on their hand like this. So when they're being interviewed, they probably have their hand like right below the screen. So when they're doing this and then they're looking down, all they're doing is just looking at their hand where they've got like, the handwriting of Klaus's buzzwords
Yeah.
that they could just repeat right off the top of their head.
Yeah, like your teleprompter, it would probably be difficult for all 40 of those people to say the exact same thing every single time they picked up the phone without the script, though. Because I bet it would
This
just
is a
be
great
mayhem.
point.
Yeah, it would be mayhem.
This is a great point. So we know that whether it's the politicians in Australia, Canada, the United States, a lot of them, the EU, now even in the UK, they're all parroting the exact same lines and they're using the exact same words. The verbiage is identical. So to your point, what is the probability of that if there is no script? What is the probability? It's not just coincidental. I mean, I'd like a mathematician to come up with the odds of 100 politicians all across the world, all using the same phrases and saying them the exact same ways. Is that like a 1 in a million? Is that a 1 in a billion? I mean, I'll
Yeah.
bet you the odds are astronomical that this could just happen organically. And so I never thought of that, but that's a very good point. Something we should consider. It just goes to show you that the likelihood of this script, I think, is even more than I may have thought prior. When you think about it from the other angle, and that other angle is what are the chances that these people could all say the exact same thing without a script? That's what I'm trying to say.
Yeah. All right, rebel capitalist. Thank you for watching. Make sure you stand up for freedom, liberty, free market, capitalism, and we'll see you in the next one.
You got it. Bye, guys.